This is section 1.1, part B, relationships between categorical variables, conditional distributions. The two-way table contains much more information than the two marginal distributions of opinion alone and gender alone. Marginal distribution tells us nothing about the relationship between the two variables. To describe a relationship between two categorical variables, we must calculate some well-chosen percent from the counts given in the body of the table. We can study the opinions of women alone by looking only at the women column, or the female column, in our two-way table. So to find the percent of young women who think they are most certain to be rich by age 30, we're going to divide the count of women who think they're almost certain by the total number of women. So in that column, we have 486 females who are almost certain they will be rich. And we're going to divide that by the total of the column, so we're only looking at the females. And we can see that 20.5% of the females feel that they are almost certain they will be rich by the time they are 30. Now, if we do this for all of those categories for the females, we are finding a conditional distribution. A conditional distribution of a variable describes the values of that variable among individuals who have a specific value of another variable. So we're looking at all the ones who are female and then just looking at their opinions. So we're seeing the probability of getting a specific opinion based on one of the specified genders. We use the term conditional because this distribution describes only young adults who are satisfying the condition that they are female. These percents will be different for the males, and we'll have different answers for all of them together. So we need to calculate the conditional distribution of their opinions among the men. Now we would start this the exact same way. So we would look at the male total, that's 2,459 males, and we would look at each opinion separately. So for almost no chance, we would do the 98 males who said there was almost no chance they were going to be rich, divided by the total number in that category, so in the male category, and we would get 4.0%. We can do this for each of those categories. Now in the females, their almost certain percent was 20.5, while the males are about 24.3% certain that they will be rich by the time they are 30. Now with these, we can compare the two to see how they vary between male and female. There are two sets of conditional distributions for any two-way table. So far, we've looked at the conditional distributions of opinions of the two genders. We can also examine the 5 conditional distributions of the gender. So each of the 5 opinions, we can look to see what percent of that opinion are female and what percent of them are male. So if we look at the almost certain category, we're looking at almost certain, which is right here, where instead of going to split them by opinion, we're going to split them by gender. And we know that there was 1,083 people in that survey total who were almost certain they would be rich. Of those 1,083 people, 486 of them were female and 597 of them were male. If we turn those into percents, we see about 45% of the people who said they were almost certain they were going to be rich were females, while 55% of those people were males. Because the variable gender has only 2 categories, comparing the 5 conditional distribution amounts to comparing the percents of women among young adults who hold each opinion, we can make this comparison in a bar graph. So if we compare the opinions of the women, of the people who said there was almost no chance, about 50% of those were women. Of the people who said there was some chance, that's about 60% of them. Almost certain they were going to get rich, we already said was around 45. So we are just comparing of the opinions, what percent of them were held by women. So the highest opinion for women was some chance. People that said there was some chance they would be rich, there was a definite higher proportion of women who said that than men who said that. We can also look at this as a segmented bar graph. In a segmented bar graph, each bar represents 100%, and you're just going to separate the bar where the change is. So almost no chance they were going to be rich. We said 50% of them were female, so the other 50% are male. On some chance, 60% are female, that's the orange. The blue part is male, so from 60 to 100%, which would represent 40% of that population, was male. Our goal all along has been to analyze the relationship between gender and opinion about chances of becoming rich for these young adults. We started by examining the conditional distributions of opinions for males and females. Then we looked at the conditional distributions of gender for each of the 5 opinion categories. Which of these two gives us the information we want? Here's a hint. Think about whether changes in one variable might help explain changes in the other. In this case, it seems reasonable to think that gender might influence a young adult's opinion about their chances of getting rich. To see whether the data supports this idea, we should compare the conditional distributions of opinion for women and men. So let's check our understanding. We need to find the conditional distribution of gender among each of the 5 opinion categories. We did almost certain earlier, so we do need to find the difference of the other ones. So we did almost certain. Now let's look at a good chance. So if we look at a good chance, there were, of the people surveyed, 1,421 people who said there was a good chance that they would be rich. So that's going to be our denominator for each of them. Now, of those 1,421 people, 663 of them were female and 758 of them were male. Now we can convert these to percent. Remember, to convert to a percent, you will divide. So we will do 663 divided by 1,421. We can then multiply that by 100 to make this a percent. And so this would be approximately 46.7% of the people who said they were almost certainly going to be rich were females, and 53.3% of the people surveyed who said there was a good chance that they were going to be rich by the age of 30 were males. If we continue and did this for all the categories, almost no chance is almost exactly even. There was a 49.5% chance they were female, and a 50.5% of them were males of surveyed. Some chance is much higher for females than males, and the biggest one for males instead of females was the almost certain at 55%.